Imagine this. A brand new cryptocurrency pops up out of nowhere. Let's call it FutureCoin. It promises to be the next big thing. Everyone can get it for free. Just tap your phone every day. Your friend Alex jumps in and says, "Dude, it's free money. It could be the next Bitcoin." FOMO starts to creep in. People post screenshots of massive balances. They talk about buying Lamborghinis. They talk about retiring early. The hype is real, impossible to ignore. But then, Sarah chimes in cautious. "Hold on, sounds too good to be true. How can it be worth money if it's free? What's the catch?" Comments start calling it a scam. They say it has no real value. They warn everyone will sell when it hits the market. Now you're stuck in the middle. This tug of war is exactly what PiCoin faces right now. So, what is this PiCoin that has everyone so worked up? Let's break it down. PiCoin was started back in 2019 by a group of Stanford graduates. Their big idea was to create a cryptocurrency that anyone could access. Unlike Bitcoin, powerful, expensive computers, a ton of electricity. PiCoin was designed to be mined on your smartphone. The process is incredibly simple. You download the Pi Network app, you create an account, and you tap a button once every 24 hours to prove you're a real human and not a bot. That's it. For doing this, you earn PiCoins. The goal was to make crypto mining democratic. Founders wanted to avoid Bitcoin's mining being dominated by huge corporations with warehouses full of specialized hardware. By allowing anyone with a phone to participate, they aimed to distribute the coin to a massive global community, and it worked. The Pi network now boasts over 55 million users, all tapping that button every day, accumulating Pi in their digital wallets. This massive user base is one of Pi's biggest selling points. No other crypto project has ever launched with such a large and engaged community already in place. But here's the catch. For all these years, PiCoin has been in what's called an enclosed mainnet. That means the coins are trapped inside their own little ecosystem. Now let's get into a crucial concept you need to understand: the sell block. This isn't an official term you'll find in a crypto textbook, but it perfectly describes the situation Pi holders are in. Imagine you've been collecting rare baseball cards for years. You have a huge collection, and you think it's worth a fortune. But there's a rule. You're not allowed to sell them. You can show them to your friends, you can trade them with other collectors who are also in the same boat, but you can't actually cash them out. That invisible barrier preventing you from selling is the sell block. For PiCoin, this block is the enclosed mainnet. This sell block is the single most important factor affecting Pi's current state. Because nobody can sell on a large open market, there is no official price for PiCoin. You might see some IOUs, basically IOUs, trading on a few smaller, less reputable exchanges. These are basically just bets on Pi's future price. Someone might sell you a Pi IOU for 30 cents, but you're not getting the actual coin, just a promise that they'll give it to you later. These IOU prices are all over the place and don't represent the real market value because the vast supply of Pi is still locked away. The sell block creates a situation of artificial scarcity. Let's talk about the nightmare scenario. This is the argument for why PiCoin could crash hard, maybe even down to something like 30 cents per coin, or even lower. The primary argument from the bears, or the skeptics, is rooted in the law of supply and demand. As we discussed, there are tens of millions of users who have mined trillions of PiCoins. That is a colossal supply. The moment the open mainnet launches and people can finally sell, the market could be hit with a tidal wave of sell orders. It's just human nature. If you got something for free, selling it for any price is pure profit. Think about it from the perspective of a miner in a developing country. They've spent years tapping a button on their phone. If they can suddenly sell their 1,000 Pi for 30 cents each, that's $300. For many people around the world, that is a life-changing amount of money. Another major concern for the bears is the lack of real-world utility at launch. What can you actually do with PiCoin right now? The team talks about building an ecosystem of apps and services where you can spend Pi, but that ecosystem is still in its infancy. There are a few small-scale marketplaces where people are bartering goods for Pi, but it's not widespread. Without a strong reason to hold or spend Pi, the most logical action is to sell it for fiat currency like the US dollar. A cryptocurrency without a use case is just a speculative asset, and a speculative asset with a massive unlocked supply is a recipe for a price crash. Because of its long development time and the fact that it was given away for free, many serious crypto investors have dismissed Pi as a gimmick or even a scam. They argue that it has no innovative technology, and that its only value is its large user base, which they believe will evaporate once selling is enabled. If the smart money in the crypto world stays away, there won't be enough buying pressure to absorb the massive sell-off from early miners. In this scenario, the price finds its floor very quickly, and that floor could easily be in the cents, not dollars. And look at the other side of the coin. What is the argument for Pi not just surviving but thriving? How could it possibly reach a price of $3 or even more? The bull case starts with the one thing that no one can deny: Pi's absolutely massive community. With over 55 million engaged users, the Pi network has a distribution that other crypto projects can only dream of. Think about it. Most new projects launch and then have to spend millions on marketing to attract users. Pi is doing it in reverse. It has the users first, and now it's building the economy around them. The power of this community cannot be overstated. If even a small fraction of these 55 million people believe in the long-term vision, they will become holders, not sellers. They will use their Pi to buy goods and services within the ecosystem, creating real economic velocity. A price of $3 would give the network a significant but not impossible market cap. Another key part of the bull argument is the lockup mechanism. The Pi core team was smart about this. A user might lock up 90% of their Pi for 3 years in exchange for a higher mining rate. This means that even when the open mainnet launches, not all coins will be available to be sold at once. That dramatically reduces the liquid supply available to sell on day one. Finally, bulls point to potential major exchange listings. Once open mainnet is stable, exchanges will want to list it. A major exchange listing would bring new liquidity and exposure. It would legitimize Pi and attract new buyers. That surge of money could absorb selling pressure and propel the price toward $3 or beyond. So we have the bulls dreaming of $3 and the bears bracing for 30 cents. The answer lies in the huge number of unknowns surrounding the project. The first and most significant unknown is the timing and specifics of the open mainnet launch. This lack of a clear timeline creates anxiety and speculation. Beyond timing, we don't know the exact technical details of the launch. To make this all more real, let's imagine two people. Marco. Marco is a young college student who heard about Pi from a friend a few years ago. He hasn't put too much thought into it, but he's managed to accumulate 2,500 Pi. His plan is simple. The moment open mainnet launches, he's going to see what the price is. If it's anything decent, he's selling. If Pi hits even 30 cents, Marco's 2,500 Pi would be worth $750. For a college student, that's a new laptop, a few months of textbooks, or a really great spring break trip. Now let's look at Chloe. Chloe is a small business owner who creates handmade jewelry. She learned about Pi and was fascinated by the idea of a global digital currency. She wants to be one of the first merchants in the new ecosystem. She plans to hold on to her mined Pi and even try to acquire more. She wants to price her jewelry in Pi and use her earnings to buy supplies from other vendors in the same ecosystem. If Pi hits $3, that's great because it means the network is healthy and her business has a larger potential market. If it hits 30 cents, she might be disappointed, but she might also see it as an opportunity to buy more Pi on the cheap. The number one risk is the massive selling pressure at launch. With millions of people holding free coins, a huge sell-off is not just possible, it's probable. This could crash the price to very low levels. Second, there is a risk that the project fails to create a compelling ecosystem with real utility. Finally, there are the technical and regulatory risks we discussed: a failed launch, a security breach, a negative government ruling. The primary reward is the power of its 55 million strong community. If this community can be converted from passive miners into active users, it could create a thriving digital economy from scratch. This is not financial advice. My goal is to give you the information so you can think for yourself. Don't let hype or fear dictate your choices. Look at the facts. Understand the arguments from both the bulls and the bears. If you've been mining Pi, think about your own goals. Are you a Marco looking for a quick profit, or are you a Chloe interested in the long-term utility? It's going to be a wild ride, and whatever happens, the PiCoin saga will be a fascinating case study for years to come. Smash the like button and subscribe for updates. This isn't financial advice. Do your own research. Read more on Dailycoin, https://dailycoin.com/pi-coin-hits-a-sell-block-0-3-doom-or-3-price-boom-ahead/.